All right. Well, welcome everyone to another episode of At Wit's End. I believe this is episode 67. I'm Ken. I'm on the west coast of the United States. Carson, my partner and son, is in Upper Austria, 6,000 miles away, 9-hour difference.
Hello there.
And yeah, apologize for the regular subscribers. We haven't done a podcast in a while. Just a lot of things, lazy, a lot of things going on. We'll recap as we continue. But
Luckily, this podcast is not paid, so we're
yeah, we're not monetized, but if you want to send us money, we'd be happy to become a sponsor. But
one
definitely
day.
subscribe. We enjoy doing it. We enjoy your feedback. So what we do want to talk about today is Carson had somewhat of an adventure. Actually, something we all were trying to do about 5 years ago.
We
Went through
started
some a
way
lot.
back
Yeah,
earlier than that.
is that yeah? So well, actually, Carson had wanted to do this for probably 15 years, 10, 15
No,
years.
9 years. 2016 is
I said 10 and brought it to our attention. And we said, hey, we'd like to go too. It only happens every 5 years. So we had built a pretty extensive vacation around it. We were going to fly into Dublin, Ireland, do Scotland, take the channel across, or no, we're going to do a multi country tour and end up in a certain city for a certain event that only happens every 5 years. And it's called Amsterdam Sail. And maybe
sale. Yes.
basically they call it sail, but if you're not, I call it Sail Fest because people say, what do you mean you're going to Amsterdam to sail? It's actually a big festival, only happens every 5 years.
I mean,
And
kinda
how
are
long?
going there to sale.
Well, yeah, but it's not like, hey, I'm going to
Not
Santa Barbara.
literally sale.
I'm not going to Santa Barbara Sail. No, I'm not going to Newport Sail. Amsterdam Sail is basically a festival, a celebration of long ships. If
Tall
I'm
ships.
Tall ships. Well, long
Tall
ships, tall
ships.
ships, exactly. From all over the world. And they
Well,
all
you can have a long. Most ships, there's many long ships, but only certain ships are tall
tall
ships.
ships. But
So it's a
it's not
distinction.
it's not exclusive because every kind of watercraft in the Netherlands, I think, shows up to transport tourists such as yourself around and everyone else. But let me go back. And the reason we didn't go 5 years ago was
Can we go
because of
back even
COVID.
further?
Okay, yeah, well, you can. I mean, I
Well, I would just say I'll go back to when I first
came on
wanted
your
to go was 2016. I was just always peruse Reddit, and there was this post, and the post was just a time lapse of the port of Amsterdam,
Mhm.
and all it showed was just a port get covered in boats, and it mesmerized me. It was like one of the coolest things I'd seen, and this single time lapse post on Reddit was the reason. Like, I researched the festival, and that I was like, I want to go to that. Like, then I saw it's like once every 5 years, and it had just happened the year before, 2015. And I was like, okay, 5 years from now, that's reasonable. 2020,
I want to do
and
it.
I'm gonna do it. Well, I'll plan it out. And yeah, 2019, the planning started.
But it was kind
So
of funny because that was almost the exact time that COVID came into awareness globally. We were like, I said, you were more optimistic about them keeping it. I said, these are
no,
people coming in on boats. It's going to be COVID stew.
but I had started planning and booking stuff a year ahead of time. So it happens every in August every 5 years, and I had started planning. So I was like, okay, huge thing, like millions of people come to the city. Okay, plan ahead, plan flights, international trip. Gonna spend 2 weeks plus in traveling, like you said, a few countries. And so I started planning August of 2019. And so I had booked hotels, was already looking at flights, and so had like the dates set out and
Booked
like had the itinerary.
for August 2020. So you were doing it a year in
Yeah.
advance. Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's I was well planning in 2019. And you
And
can continue
okay.
your
So yeah, and then COVID hit. So we started to, I guess, downsize and then flat out cancel the trip. So
yeah.
Yeah, we were going back and forth whether they would cancel, and I kept saying, these are people that are coming in on sailing vessels. You know, if anybody's going to be affected, they are because they're in close quarters. And so they definitely ended up canceling it. Actually took them a little longer than I thought before they officially canceled.
Yeah, I think it was just because it was later, so they were like
Yeah,
hoping
nobody knew if it was going to
towards
be
the end of
2
the
weeks,
summer.
2 months, or 2 years. So,
Yeah.
well, nobody thought it would be 2 years of lockdowns or even 2 months. So, so yeah, so
So yeah,
that
that
got
was eventually canceled.
yeah, so it got canceled. Those plans got wiped out. We went on and did other stuff. We did travel during COVID. But so this year it was on and you started planning again about a year ago.
Well,
I
I'll say
regret
one thing too. That trip also kind of led me to moving to Austria in part. That
that's
was
true.
one of the
I
kind of
forgot you weren't there.
precursors.
Actually, it
Yeah,
just
so I
dawned on me
was.
you were not
This
in
was
Austria at the time.
this is well before the thought of going to Austria even was there. So this was a precursor to that, and partially due to the cancellation of that, I was like, and I haven't gone anywhere. this was that was my first. That was gonna be my first trip to Europe, and so it got canceled. I was like, yeah, that was a bummer. And then decided, why not just spend years there instead of a couple weeks?
And quite frankly, it is a lot easier when you're in the EU somewhere to travel and do things like
Yeah,
this just because of the cheap airlines, the trains, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, in fact, yeah, I forgot that was kind of before you had made the decision to make the jump.
yeah. Well before.
Yeah. So this year, I had hoped to go, just it didn't work out. Too many things going on. You were booking well in advance. I think you had actually booked kind of some local hotels.
Yeah, but like a booking.com, like local place, a while back, just like the kind of, with booking.com, you can reserve for free and cancel for free thing. And so that's what I did. But ended up switching hotels for multitude of reasons, nicer place, better deal, and the view was the biggest thing. But I guess we can kind of start the adventure to get there.
Yeah, I was going to say you actually should start. I mentioned it's when you're in Europe, it's pretty cheap to fly on some of the cheap airlines, say Ryanair, for instance. But you decided to do another mode of transportation that was more common when I was, say, your age and traveling in Europe, the train.
Yeah,
But it
so it was
wasn't
a little
cheaper.
weird. Yeah, because I was looking, I looked at Ryanair, Wizz Air, all the different cheap airlines that compete with the trains, and between Vienna and Amsterdam, there was no cheap flights. It was Austrian Air, or KLM. They're both like 200 ish, for or a little over 200 for a flight,
Do you
and
think that
I
was
was booking a
because
little
of?
late.
Do you think it was because of sale, or
No, I think it's a fairly regular price.
I thought they had pretty cheap flights from Vienna into Amsterdam?
Not to stipple, Ryanair doesn't do that
Oh,
route,
okay.
or Wizz or any of them. Lauda, I guess, would be Ryanair for Vienna. So yeah, I was looking. I was like, okay, it's kind of expensive. I could do it, but obviously a little annoying to go to the airport and then spend all the times at airport, especially Schiphol. Schiphol's kind of a nightmare sometimes. I've only had good experiences, but it's because I've never
Yeah, same
had
here.
to go in and out of Schiphol. I've always just transferred there, and I've traveled with KLM, and I like
And
KLM.
that's another thing that you've been to Amsterdam before, but mainly just as a
Yeah,
stopping
I've been
point
I've
layover.
been 4 times to
Yeah,
Schiphol
yeah.
and never actually gotten off. So I've never been to Amsterdam, but I've been to Schiphol 4 times.
And your brother actually played baseball for Amsterdam.
Yep.
What were they? The Amsterdam Bombers. So he had some experience in Amsterdam.
And so, yeah, I decided there was a very efficient train, the Austrian Nightjet, which is actually a very well regarded sleeper train. And they had a direct from what goes Vienna to Amsterdam, passes through Linz, and so I could get on at night in Linz, take the sleeper train up to Amsterdam, and get there in the morning. And so I decided to book that. It was actually, depending on what you book, cheaper than the flight, and it serves as like a hotel basically. And so I decided to do that. And I knew that there were new sleeper trains available. And so with that, there's capsule pods in the new sleeper trains, which is a new thing for the sleepers, and so I thought I'd try it out. It was interesting. It's definitely a capsule pod. I will say I don't tend to get claustrophobic, but with like the metal locking door in the pod, like on a train, it's a
Yeah.
little like the thought of like what could happen on a train goes through your mind a little bit, because like the thing to break open the window is like right next to your head, and you have a little tiny window.
So you did have a window that you could see outside.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A
And
little tiny
were
one.
you can you stand up in a pod or do you have to
No,
just lit?
no.
No. Okay.
You can't even get on your knees and sit like go upright. You have to like sit on your butt the whole time, or
So
yeah,
you open a door, you kind of slide into
a
a
little
bed,
sliding door. Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you close it. So is there another pod above you or below you?
So I had the top one. There's one
So somebody
below.
would have been below you.
Yeah, and then there's
No.
it's like a four pod area that has like the shares like storage space. They don't share, you have individual lockers for like luggage and shoes, but it's like a dock for four pods. Definitely the lower ones are the better ones. I would recommend if you go on the pod trains, book the lower ones. Um and I think that's just because it's easier to get in and out of them, and like you can put your feet on the floor and just sit in the edge of the pod.
So is there like a ladder to get up? You were in the upper pod. Is
Yeah,
that a ladder you
yeah.
climb up in, and then you crawl
Yep.
in and close the door and just
And you
kind of
like
lay
close the
there
door
the
with
whole
your
time?
feet for
Yeah,
me.
I don't think I'd dig that at all.
And you're like your head goes against the window and your feet at the door.
Could a NBA player fit in one?
No, no, it's 6'2" is the length
Wow.
of the pod. So
Okay.
yeah, tall people, Dutch people need not apply to these.
Dutch people, that's funny.
Yeah, tallest people in the world, Dutch people.
So, okay, you get on in Linz at what time?
So it came to Linz at 9, and
9 p.m.
these trains are, yeah, 9 at night, and these trains are always late. So the ETA, like, arrival time was supposed to be was like 9:30 or something into Amsterdam. I think we got in near 11 o'clock, so it's always late. It always stops somewhere. We were stopped in Germany for a while, so never on time. Same on the way back, was almost 2 hours behind schedule, but it is what it is.
That is interesting because I think most people's perception is Austria, Germany, very efficient on time. If you'd said it was
Germans are the
Italy,
worst.
then I would have said, yeah, it's going to be late.
Deutsche Bahn is the worst. Austrian trains are pretty good.
Was this run
They
by
do a lot of international
OBB?
trains. Yeah, UBB.
Okay, OBB is a great line in Austria. I mean, it's
Yeah,
the best.
they do a lot of the international trains for other countries too. And the sleeper is actually tickets by UBB, but it's run by a separate company. Like they contract it out. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's like, Nightjet by, it's like New West or New West or something.
And more importantly, what about a bathroom? So each car, you have to leave the pod, leave your
Yeah,
little area
there's a men's and women's restroom, and then like a
in each car.
also a third like hand washing station
Okay.
for those cars. Yeah, so the pod cars have like probably 32 pods, and then like four or three couchette rooms, which have like
Yeah.
four beds in each.
Okay.
And then there's like a men's and women's restroom, and then like a hand wash station as well, like
Yeah.
an extra sink.
So before, I don't know when you want to talk about your trip back.
Yeah,
So
we can do it right now.
if you were to make the decision when you got to Amsterdam, would you just get a seat next time or would you do that pod again
Well, I mean,
or
so you
fly?
brought up the trip back. So the trip back, I changed to the couchette, but I did like the two bedroom, which is much
More
nicer.
expensive.
And so I booked like a shared room. So like there's two beds, so someone to be on top and one on bottom. It's like bunk beds. But these have a private bathroom too, which is pretty sweet. And they have like a little couch you can sit on and like a table you can have dinner or play cards on, whatever.
It's like a mini
They
cabin, basically.
Yeah, give you free champagne, which is nice. I guess you pay for it with your ticket, but that was a much nicer, definitely. The pillows and yeah, everything, the blanket, far superior, obviously. And I think for the price difference between the two, it's a pretty nice upgrade. And I think it's worth it personally.
But you
I
got
got
lucky too.
lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got lucky because the person who was supposed to be on the top bunk in Amsterdam never showed up, so I had the room completely to myself, which was pretty sweet, having a whole room to yourself. Yeah, it was nice. Personally, I would if I wanted to go cheap, I would probably just do a seat. They're pretty comfy and like the seats they have. That's definitely the cheapest. It's less than like I think it's only like 55 euros for the trip compared to like 120 I think it was for the pod and then
Hmm.
like 200 for the shared
Cabin.
room sleeper cabin. And I think yeah, the sleeper cabin for me was yeah, really nice, but if I wanted to go cheap, I would just get the chair to be honest.
So basically, you do. There's three options: cheap, the seats are comfortable, that's not a problem. You'll probably get a little sleep. Mid range is that pod. If you're claustrophobic, don't do it. If you can
Yeah, if
afford
you
it, do the cabin.
yeah, yeah. The pod's nice. I mean, it's a nice train. It's new. The trains are new, so if you're fine in like the capsule pods in Japan, then you'll be fine in this. Yeah, they're fine. But yeah, just my
All right. So
preferences.
you arrive at the train station in Amsterdam. Take us through the event.
Yeah,
First
well,
impression.
I guess it's important to say what sail is. So we talked a little bit about it. Sail is once every 5 years. It's the supposedly the largest nautical festival in the world. Obviously, the Netherlands has a rich history of sailing.
Dutch
Long
colonialism.
Dutch colonialism, Dutch East India Company, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I actually learned this at a museum. Did you know up until the U.S. signed a treaty with Japan in the 1850s, the only trading partner of Japan was the Dutch.
Dutch. They probably
This was
controlled it.
like
That's why.
for 100 no, they didn't. They just had a trading outpost. This was like for hundreds of years, and it was because the Japanese wanted just one partner to learn about the scientific and the culture of the Western nation, so they chose the Dutch. Something interesting I learned at a museum. But yeah, so Sail this Sail 2025, obviously 2020 was canceled. 2025 was the 50th anniversary. So it started 50 years ago and was traded for the celebration of Amsterdam's 700th birthday. So 50 years later, this was also the celebration of Amsterdam's 750th
Right.
birthday
So
for
it's
the
kind of a
city. So
dual festival.
yeah, so that was kind of a cool thing. You see the city had a bunch of stuff up for that. But Sail is obviously the big event. It's a massive event. Millions of people come to the city and over 10,000 watercraft show up. And it's dedicated mainly to tall ships, all sailing ships. So these are sailing vessels, true sailing vessels, and massive ones at that. Most of them are run by naval fleets. So like the Dutch Navy has one. There was a sister ship of the main ship there, which is like the ship of Amsterdam. Sister ship was from Oman, very pretty ship, and sailed from Oman. The largest ship there was a sailing vessel of the Peruvian Navy, which is also the largest sailing vessel in South America, which is very cool. It's a beautiful ship, really well kept. Got to get to board it. Um, there was ships from Uruguay. There was ships obviously from the Netherlands. A bunch of ships from Spain, France, England. So I think in total of the tall ships, there was probably 13 or 15 nations that brought tall ships. The Peruvian one being the largest, and it was the Peruvian and the Uruguayan ship. It was their first time at sail.
Really?
Yeah, so it was I just cool for them, and both very beautiful ships, very like really good, well maintained, and you know look top. It's kind of cool. So on the first day of sail, so this is when I got there, they have the sail in, which is like a parade of all the ships and all
Wait, so
the
that's on a Wednesday?
yeah. So this is on Wednesday,
So the fest is Wednesday through Saturday,
Sunday,
about right?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, so sail out, which actually is today, is the last day when all the ships leave. And so for both of these, what is very cool, and this is what got me hooked on that Reddit post, all the small ships from around the area, from Rotterdam, from Amsterdam, they go down the canal. I can't pronounce it, but like IJ, the canal that goes to the other side, the Netherlands, the coastline, and they all go down there because that's where the tall ships wait at. There's like a lock over there, and from the Stad Amsterdam, which is the like main ship, leads the sailing parade and has like the mayor of Amsterdam and a bunch of other dignitaries on it.
And has
And
that boat
they,
always been the one that leads them in
I believe so.
traditionally?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so they all start at this lock on the far side of the Netherlands, on the other side of the canal, and they just travel for hours down the lock. And all the little boats from the area go over there and join in the parade. So you have tens of thousands of boats just filling this canal and parading down the canal. And the people line the canal as much as they can, like as far down as they can to watch the boats come in. Because it takes hours for them to travel down and for all the ships to get through because there's so many. And like the water is just filled with ships. It's so cool.
Probably
I
walked
definitely
across it
recommend like
without touching the water.
yeah, I definitely recommend like looking up the videos and pictures because it's pretty remarkable. That's what hooked me on it. And so they have the sail in, and the ships come into the port of Amsterdam. And when they get to the central station, right across, they give like a cannon salute, and they fire off like kind of smoke in the colors of the ship, of the country's flag of the ship. So like when the Dutch one, it does the Dutch colors. When the Peruvian one, it did red and white for the Peruvian flag. The Uruguayans, like all the country ships, they'll fire off colors and cannon salute for each ship as it goes by. So super cool. People are just stacked on top of each other on the sides of the canal and of the port of Amsterdam. It's such a cool thing because these massive sailing ships are just going down the river with all these little tiny boats next to them.
I wonder if
It
they
just
have any
shuts down everything.
incidents or accidents or people
Oh,
get
for
hurt
sure.
with. I
Yeah.
mean, you didn't
I mean,
see any though.
it's so crowded. I mean, I saw a video on TikTok of like a boat that was getting like pushed around because they have just like it's like a road, right? And they just stow like one side this direction, the other side this direction, and this boat was just getting like pushed around because it looked like it lost a motor or something, and like because the traffic was flowing and it couldn't stay with flow.
Well, I will say some of the boats look like they're, some bathtubs are made from home or something like that.
There's
So
a lot of yeah.
the
There's ones that are
diversity of
like
craft is definitely there.
yeah, I mean, there's guys on paddle boards. There's guys on what are the aluminum john boats.
Yeah.
There's guys like on picnic
Kayaks.
benches that have a pontoon. There's kayaks. There's I didn't really have ever seen them before, but those I sent you a picture. But these boats that look like giant bathtubs. There's actually some really nice ones too.
When you say nice, you mean like the interior. It's got tables
Oh
and
yeah, it's
wine
like
bars and stuff. Yeah.
but
From
even
the
like the
outside, they
paint.
look like an ugly boat.
Well, I mean, the paint, I mean, even they kind of turned the outside kind of nice and it has like steps, but like then, yeah, the inside of it will be like, you know, nice leather and they'll have like, brill inside there straight. And all of them had like a meat and cheese spread. It was in
Yeah.
like champagne or beer.
Charcuterie boards.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, the sail in it's incredible. It's just an incredible sight to see like the water completely filled with ships and these massive tall ships, sailing vessels just coming into the harbor. And then they park them in this little inlet that they actually dismantle a bridge so that the tall ships can dock in there because the bridge
Yeah.
is like a pedestrian bridge for
Right.
canal boats to go
Right.
like underneath, and they have to dismantle it so all the big ones can get in. So this bridge is like dismantled and
Shows
it's
you the
televised.
economic impact of it that they would do that.
Yeah. And the thing is completely televised on national Dutch TV too, so that's pretty cool.
The
It's a big
sail in
event.
and out.
Yeah, yeah. They had a guy on like the overhang roof of like their concert hall that's on the water. There was crazy, like with a big old camera. But yeah, they park the vessels in this inlet, and then like the festivals all around there. It's all around the water. And when they're parked for the days of the festival, the ships, if they're open, you can freely board them. There's no cost to board the ships, and so you can check out all the tall ships, walk on board. Like I went on a the Peruvian ship.
I got to plug in. My battery's about to die. All right.
So I got to board the Peruvian ship, which was very cool. The big massive one, walked around there. I went on board a couple German ships, which I thought were very interesting. One thing I noticed and still don't have an answer to is the German ships have yellow colored masts and none of the other ships did. So I wondered if it was a German thing for a German shipbuilder, but no one could answer that for me, not even on the German ships. But that's for
You have to put
another
that out
time.
there on the internet and ask.
Yep. And went on a French ship, and then thought about going. So they had some very what is the word? Not a restoration, but ships that were built like the like Santa Maria of Christopher Columbus. What is the word I'm looking for? Not a restoration, but
Replicas.
a replica of like the Columbus's Santa Maria and the Valencia, I think is the name of one of the other boats. But they had replicas of two of the three ships that sailed to the Americas with Columbus, and was gonna go on board those, but they were jam packed with people, so I didn't. Um, and then went on the Omani ship, which was very cool, the sister ship to the Stadt Amsterdam, beautiful ship. And so you can freely board these if they're open. They're only open for certain part
So
of
they
the
don't
day.
charge you to go on the ship
No.
like okay.
Nope. And it's free entry to the festival. Certain parts are cost money, but the festival as a whole is free. No
Yeah,
tickets.
it'd be kind of hard to charge for it since it
Yeah.
covers the entire city.
Yeah, yeah. So it's massive.
But they do have music kind of festivals that go along
Yeah.
with it. They
Yeah,
charge for
there's
that.
some Dutch music that you can buy your tickets to and everything. So in some other ships were there, the non-tall ships, but Dutch naval ships were there. One of them actually came in like a light cruiser or something, came in with the sail-in. But I went on to a like retired support ship, a smaller one. So my first time on a non-American naval ship, which is kind of cool. But then I also got to go on an active duty amphibious assault vessel or amphibious support vessel that was just recently in a NATO exercise in like the North Sea, which is very cool. Big massive ship. If you see my post on our at Wits End, it's actually was docked. I had a view of it from my hotel room. But the Dutch Marines ship was there and went on that. That was pretty cool to go on a
Is the Dutch
ship like
Navy,
that.
is Amsterdam a like a naval base? Are they
No,
posted
no,
there long? No? Okay.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, Amsterdam's like, you know, you have to take the
Commercial.
canals to get in there. It's commercial and
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't think so. I would the naval base is way further out.
Did you get on any of the Austrian naval vessels?
Yeah, unfortunately, I did not see any Austrian naval vessels or sailing vessels. I think they were stuck trying to get there. Some land was blocking them.
Yeah,
So
they could have
unfortunate.
the Donau.
Yeah. There was also a Dutch submarine there. I think it was like a
Oh wow.
Sea Lion class or something. They didn't go on that. They were doing like tours with like five people at a time. I also would think that would be something you may have to be Dutch to go on to, but not entirely sure.
Yeah.
I didn't try. That was gonna take a while, but it'd be cool to go on a Dutch submarine, like active submarine.
You know, I
There's
kind of get
there's
the
also a
feeling
tourist submarine too, which is kind of funny.
like one that's there all the time that takes people out on
I
tours.
guess, yeah, my
Yeah.
guess.
Okay. They can do that at Disneyland. But I kind of get the feeling the festival is definitely something that the locals support because I was kind of shocked that your hotel still had rooms available considering how many the amount of people that come into Amsterdam. But then I also figured a lot of them are probably staying on their boats. A lot of the
Yeah,
sailors are staying on their boats. You did make a comment when we talked when you're at the fest. Some of the tourists were saying those are people on the masts and stuff, and I said, yeah, because they line up across the masts.
yeah. When the Peruvian ship came in, a giant. Like obviously, they have multiple gigantic tall masts making it a tall ship, and the sailors were lined up like across each part of the mast, which was pretty cool. Like all the way to the tippy top. People couldn't. Yeah, I heard people like Americans walking by, like, are those people on there? Yeah,
Well, yeah, I can kind of see that because it's far away, and you wouldn't think they're so high up, and they look like ants, from a distance
yeah,
on.
yeah. Yeah, that was. I mean, when the Peruvian ship came through, it was epic. The flag on the back of that thing was massive too. It's this huge Peruvian flag, super cool.
Which is kind of wild because you wouldn't think of Peru as having a something like that, you know.
Yeah, it's neat. It's yeah, something cool. And I know like there's a recent incident in New York where the Mexican sailing ship
Well, that was
had
the
a
because they had
had
all the
deaths.
guys across the mast standing there, and people were saying, "Are those
Yeah,
people?" And then it hit the bridge, and that's how I think two of them died or something.
yeah.
That typically would have been one of the ships that would have been at the festival.
Yeah, I don't think that ship was planned to go there, but yeah, that would be the type of ship that goes to this event. Unfortunately, in rather weird, there no U.S. ship. It would be cool to like USS Constitution or something like that
Yeah, I'm
was
kind of
to show
surprised
up.
by that. And you didn't see any, huh?
No, no, didn't see a single one.
Which is
I saw
considering how,
one single American flag on a like private vessel
yeah, I
that
saw
was
that
docked in the
too.
harbor.
It was in one
But
of
that
your
was
videos, I think. Or no, that
that
was
was the
American Pillows.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but there was an American flag on a vessel in one of the ports, and that was the only one I saw. Yeah, so and then I also did go on a tour of the boats from the water. So in one of the bathtub boats, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
put on by one of the tour companies.
So what does that cost to do that?
Yeah, so the one I went on was so it was on a open topped sloop. Um, on our boat, they only had I think we had like 10 people or so part of the tour, and it was like 50 euros for an hour and a half, I want to say it was,
And
with
they
free
give you a
drinks.
charcuterie board, drinks kind of thing, little
No
snacks.
food, but free beer, free
Yeah.
wine, whatever you kind of wanted. Um, and yeah, so it takes you basically alongside all the boats in the harbor. Takes over an hour to do, and you basically just join the queue. You join this street, basically. It's like one way street, and it's kind of interesting because it's not only like little tiny boats, like a guy on a paddleboard could join. A John boat joins, like a little tiny two-person jet boat, but
And do
also
they,
like there's big like sailing ships and
yeah,
big like ferries that also join this queue to look at the tall ships.
do they have a harbor patrol that kind of guides people or keeps things in
Yeah,
control
I mean
or?
there's police, there's the port of Amsterdam, there's some mini support ships, there's police on jet skis that are zooming around,
Oh, okay.
but generally like it's like a road. You just you go with the flow of traffic and you stay with the flow, like big ships to the inside, small ships to the outside kind of thing.
Right. And
And yeah, you
when you booked your boat, is it do you just walk up and ask, or is there like tour kiosks where people are
I
selling
I
tickets?
booked it on they have an app,
Okay.
so the whole festival has an app, and I booked it on that. And you just book a time, and then you just go over, scan your ticket, and they put you on a boat that's like next one up kind of thing. Um, you just join the boat, and then it heads out when it's full kind of thing.
And I
So
did think
yeah,
there's.
when
Are you going to mention their tradition when you go by the military boats with the?
oh yeah, so yeah, so you'll see the video on my TikTok. It's my first slightly viral video. There's a lot of Dutch people commenting on it, and it's kind of funny.
What are they
But
saying? Or go ahead and tell.
no
Tell.
idea. Just
Okay. Oh, it's
very
in Dutch.
like, I mean, I translate it, but they're just like, yeah, support the sailors or yeah, love it or stuff like that. Just little remarks. But so yeah, we were on the boat and I was like the only one who was having beer on there. Like the rest of people had wine or weren't drinking. And so he had a ton of Heineken on the boat and the beer of
The
Amsterdam.
official beer.
And
Yeah.
so we're towards the end of it and we're driving by the big, like the massive amphibious assault ship, big naval boat.
Is it
And
the one
like,
you were on?
yeah, it was the one I was on. And so you look up, and there's obviously like the sides that they can see out of and look down on. And there's a bunch of sailors there, and they have buckets and ropes, and they drop the buckets down, and the people fill it with beer. And so they actually saw our boat coming because the tour guide set out like 12 Heinekens on the side of the boat, like preparing to put in the bucket. And like they could see all the Heinekens just sitting there, and they're like, "Oh, yo, get the bucket down!" And they lowered the bucket, but he filled up the bucket with all the Heineken, like small little
Yeah.
bucket, and yeah, let it go. And it kind of like swung because it took him a while to fill the bucket. So it swung back, and they just pulled it up, and they got their cold beer. It was pretty
And
cool.
a lot of the boats do that, the big naval vessels.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah. A
kind of
lot of
fun.
the well, it was just the one naval vessel that had it. But yeah, they filled up a lot of the little boats were filling it up. I saw actually one video on TikTok that dude threw a beer can up to the ship, which is pretty impressive. And
The guy
one of the
catch it?
sailors caught it. Yeah, they caught it. So it's pretty fun. And there's a lot of other intakes. Like I saw when I was there on the tour I was on, a uh, a chariot rode out with like a
Oh, I saw that.
mechanical horse,
Yeah,
and I posted a video of it, and it came out into the canal, like the big canal, and that's crazy. And then I later saw more videos. There was a whole like contest or parade of like crazy boats, like small little creations, and it was like all animal themed. So like this guy had a mechanical horse pulling a
right.
chariot, and it was like a paddle boat, like the paddle
Yeah, spinning
wheels.
wheels, yeah.
So that was super cool, and there was a bunch of other, like, crazy little boats
Well,
like
when I
that
saw it,
people
it
just made.
reminded me of, like, the Red Bull contests, where they do their boats and stuff and jump
Yeah,
off. So,
yep,
that's what it looked like.
and there's just a bunch of other, so I saw Amphicar, which I also saw on TV, earlier in the day, so it was, like, on Dutch TV, they, like, interviewed the
Yeah.
dude on the water while he was driving his Amphicar,
Was it a
and then
European-made one? What's the one in
no,
the States?
the Amphicar, yeah, same
Yeah,
thing.
that's a US-made car, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yep, but you'll love this even more. There was a pink Cadillac Eldorado limo convertible on a pontoon.
That'd be kinda
Driving
cool.
around. And it was cruising it was there for multiple days. Like, dude
Yeah.
just cruised around on it with his people, and they
So,
were
it was an actual Cadillac he put on a pontoon and could drive off, or was it something he built
no,
with
it was
pontoons?
built as, like, mounted to this
So,
pontoon
it's a
and
boat.
boards. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
boat, but it's a pink Cadillac limo, like
Yeah.
Eldorado limo.
Very cool.
Convertible, so no roof on it.
Yeah.
Um, it was hilarious, like, everyone was taking pictures of it, it was pretty funny. And then I also saw, like, I don't know what type of car it was. It kinda looked like a VW Cabrio, but Amphicar style. So it's just cruising around in the water. That was also a crazy one. I saw a pontoon that was just a bunch of planks with, like, 4 picnic tables and a charcoal grill on the back and a
It's
little
just
umbrella and
just a
just cruising.
cruising restaurant, did you see anything that sank?
No, didn't see anything that sank. That would be crazy, and that
Yeah, because they
saw
couldn't do anything.
no one I didn't ever see anyone need to get rescued out of the water or anything. Um, Dutch pretty good at sailing.
Yeah, I didn't notice a lot of people with life vests either, so
No, there's the only people that had life vests on were like a couple of the like captains and then
yeah,
little kids and
yeah.
dogs. A lot of dogs with life vests. But yeah, there was all kinds of craft on the water. I mean, it was crazy the types of big ships, tall ships, even the like the long river like cargo ships, like the
Yeah,
long flat ships. A
the
ton of those
barges,
were going through like normal cargo, like normal business as
so
usual.
they had to go through.
Yeah, they just had to go through to move in their
You're probably
cargo.
the one group that is not thrilled with the festival.
Yeah, that's chaos for them.
Yeah.
And even more chaos, the ferries that there's a free ferry that goes back and forth on parts of the river. So one on one side of the central station, one on the other, and then there was actually a third one right near my hotel, and they just go back and forth across the river. And they actually added additional ships because of the amount of people. And seeing those things go back and forth in this traffic was insane. Like these dudes, these captains were going crazy with it. They were just forcing their way through.
I could see why a time lapse would be really cool to watch.
It's incredible. That's what hooked
Yeah.
me. The time lapse of these ships just hooked me. It's crazy. And like watching the ferries go back and forth, it was so mesmerizing because they have to like weave through and like when the long cargo ships, they have to
Yeah.
like weave through them. It's so cool. It's
So
so cool.
overall, were the people friendly and outgoing?
Oh yeah, Dutch people are super friendly, like really nice people.
And food
Yeah.
wise,
At the festival, they had just like normal kind
street
of
food.
festival food, street food. They had some Dutch street food. They also had like cheeseburgers and
What would Dutch street food be?
churros, croquette. They had a
Okay.
croquette. They had like a croquette sandwich. It was
Yeah.
like sausage sandwich, waffles, and a lot of waffles.
Salted fish? No.
Yeah, there was herring. But yeah, there's kind of general festival food was all around. Obviously, within Amsterdam, there's a ton of good food and wide variety. It's very international. Yeah, within like the festival, I didn't even go to the whole thing either. Like there was other parts further up the canal that I didn't even get to. I was only kind of around the tall ship area. And I mentioned earlier, so the hotel I changed to was Holiday Inn Express, which was on the north side. And a little annoying to get to, not the greatest connections to public transit. But it was like waterside, like basically one block up from the water, right near like a little inlet, a little dock. The reason I booked it is because it had a view of the docks of all the tall ships. So my room directly faced the big amphibious assault ship, and like the inlet that the tall ships are on was like right behind that, so it was a little bit obstructed. But like at night, with all the ships lit up with all the string lights on them on the mast, I mean it was incredible to and just to watch the boats go back and forth. Like I sat in my room for an hour just watching out the window, watching the boats go and
And you said
seeing
they
the
did
ships.
fireworks every night too, right?
Yeah, so they did fireworks every night, 10:30, on the famous, like, tower that's on the north side. There's, like, a famous tower with, like, swings that you can swing over the edge.
Really?
Yeah, it's, like, one of the amusements, I guess. There's some lore with the tower, but I don't know what it is. But they had fireworks at 10:30 at night on top of that every night, and the fireworks lasted exactly 700 for the 750th anniversary of Amsterdam. Not super crazy fireworks, but cool nonetheless,
Yeah.
and like kind of a show. And all the boats would go out, and like most of the smaller boats would go out in front of the tower and watch from the water. And then when the fireworks ended, they all blare their horns and everything.
Well, that'd be
It's
cool.
pretty cool. So yeah, I mean,
Did
it's
you
just one of those things. It's just crazy. It's
did
so
you
cool.
take in any of the music from the festival or just listen from the
Not
outside?
really. There was like one kind of close to my hotel. There was like a small stage. There was like a group of like Dutch men, like 30 of them, all in like sailor, like the striped blue and white sailor outfits with like white pants and like sailor hats. And they
Yeah.
were like a singing group, and they were singing like old sailor tunes. And the one time I was there listening to them, I stopped to listen. They were singing an old song about the Erie Canal.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, this is hilarious. It was
I will
really
say,
good.
looking at the major acts that were there, I was clueless.
You know,
So
very Dutch.
I think as an American, it would be interesting to go, but you're not going to know any of the, probably nothing's going to be familiar unless they sing a song that,
And the like you could hear on the boats, like the Dutch have songs that they love to sing that are very traditional Dutch
oh,
songs,
yeah, yeah,
and they play
exactly.
them out loud, and they all know the songs. There's like clapping to some of them, and like they love their music, and like when they're played out loud, it's pretty funny.
Well, like when you go to F1 race with Verstappen and the
Yeah,
Dutch, they have their club tunes, their dancing tunes, their traditional songs, which don't know
and
anything about.
they go crazy.
But then they sing "Sweet Caroline" and "Country Roads," you know. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, looking at the acts, I was going DJs and groups I'd never ever heard of before. So
yeah,
it
all
would have
very
been
Dutch.
kind of interesting just to watch and see what it sounds like.
I had a view like in the distance from my room, it overlooked the stage, but couldn't really hear it because the windows didn't open. But
So it
yeah, it
lived
was
up
pretty
to your
wild.
5 years of 16 years of anticipation.
Yeah, I mean, watching the ships in the harbor is so cool. And I'll say this, I'm not a big boat person, not
Yeah,
like
you're
a
not a
sailor or
sailor at all.
anything. I've been on a few boats here and there. Um but like it's not that we don't own a boat. I don't regularly go out on boats, but like something about this thing just like piqued my interest so much, and like I spent first 4 years and then 5 more years waiting to go to this thing.
Well, I mean,
And
it's one of those things that is a unique festival event. Doesn't happen often. That's only happens in Amsterdam. So I mean, it's kind of
yeah,
one of those things. If you can, you got to do it. So yeah.
it's it's very Dutch. Like if you think of like big international events, and like there's certain things that like tourists will bombard, but like when you go to this and you walk around, it's Dutch people. Like it's 95% Dutch people.
Well, that's all I was
Probably
saying
not,
because
but
the hotels weren't completely booked, and the size of the festival, you would think it would have been sold out, but it wasn't. So it
yeah,
kind of indicates that it's a local thing as well as a tourist event.
yeah, they were very bought in. Like obviously, the majority of the ships there are Dutch, but people, shape their boats up from Rotterdam. They come up from all over, all around the country, and show up for this. And and people, like I was told this when I was there, it was like, man, yeah, this year is great to come here. This is awesome. And every 5 years, we've been waiting 10 years for this one. And it's the perfect time. Like this is, and one guy even said he was like, this is the Netherlands. They love it.
The Dutch guy
It's
said it.
so yeah. One of the guys on the boat. He's like, this is the Netherlands. This is the perfect time to come. And I couldn't agree more. Like it
Would you go
was
back?
so cool. Yeah, I'd love to go back. Love to like it every 5 years. It's kind of great 'cause it's not often. Like it's not a common thing. It's like something you can plan for. It's like unique. There's always stuff to do. There's so much I didn't do. Even in the 4 days, 3 nights I was there. Like there's plenty to do. And I did, and we won't talk too much about Amsterdam on this episode, but did a little bit of Amsterdam. There's a bunch of Amsterdam I didn't get to do. So like,
Yeah, you're there at probably the tourist event of Amsterdam's year. So I'm sure like the Anne Frank house was packed, Van Gogh Museum was packed,
what
Heineken
it
Brewery was
was,
probably packed,
yeah, I didn't go to that. Uh,
Red Light District.
but it's so I've never been, but my guess is it wasn't actually it wasn't as crazy as I thought it was gonna be. So like the tourist levels felt normal for like a summer in Europe, like in a major European city.
Yeah, but
But like,
like the major tourist areas are being overrun, like Venice, for instance.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
hear anything about Amsterdam as
No,
far
I
as,
could. It was
yeah,
fairly easy to walk around. Like I could get
yeah,
food pretty easily. Like the craziest parts were obviously sail. Like the walking around the harbor there was, it's hard to walk around in the busy times. Like there's just super long lines sitting on boats and stuff. But that wasn't because of tourists. Like that was
right,
because there's Dutch people there.
yeah,
But the tourist stuff wasn't that crazy. Like I expected it to be a little bit worse, to be honest. Like, yes, the Van Gogh Museum I didn't get to go to was booked out for like 7 or 8 days, but like I think it's a fairly small museum, and it's like the Van Gogh Museum.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's the thing, and it also in recent years became even more popular because they released a Pokemon card in Van Gogh style that is super expensive. Yeah, this is random, but
I would
there's
never have
a
known
there's a
that.
there's a Pikachu card that like is style a Van Gogh style, and he's wearing a hat like a Van Gogh hat or something, and it's a very expensive card, and you could only get it there.
Well,
Certain things like that made it
so
crazy.
basically, yeah, it's not the Vatican during the summer, which is like
No,
overrun.
Rome during like peak time is crazy, it's absurd. This Which what I thought was kind of peak would be peak time.
It was enjoyable.
I'm fine. Like you said, there were hotel rooms still available. Like
Yeah.
I,
Well, that's what
I
I'm saying.
it's
It's kind of
easy.
like, guy, you could do it at the last minute and still go and enjoy it. And,
Yeah,
it's not overcrowded, maybe crowded, but it's a fun time, and it sounds like everybody's getting along.
yeah,
So
and
five
yeah,
5 stars for your tourist
yeah.
travel.
It's it's like one of those events that is worth going to like from afar. It's something that's like not only like you have Amsterdam, right? One of the things I like to do is I like to travel to go to an event in the city. I think that's like one of the cool things. Most of the time, I go to watch a soccer match, a football match. I went to Marseille because I wanted to watch football, but I wanted
Yeah.
to go to Marseille, right? I went to Paris for a couple days.
Well,
I went to
Marseille
Munich to
people
watch.
Yeah, most people wouldn't go to. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like a hot spot, but
But I
yeah.
tend to go to places, watch a football match, or go to some event that's going on, and like this is why I wanted to go to Amsterdam. Like I could have had many opportunities to go to Amsterdam before, but I wanted to go for sale.
One thing you didn't do though, I just realized, and something I'd like to do too. You didn't get a haircut or a shave.
I did not. I thought about that a bunch, but I was like, I
And now that
just
I
now
think about
recently
it,
did.
Amsterdam would have been a spot to have that done.
Yeah, yeah. I walked by Mini and I thought about it, but I was like, the value was not there because I recently cut my hair. So
Turkish
yeah, I was like,
barbers there, I assume.
yeah, there's plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I thought about it, but yeah, ended up I walked by Mini that looked nice and would have been nice to do. Uh, the only downside I have about Amsterdam is because it's famously a bike city and a canal city. The like the public transit connections are pretty shit, uh, especially in where I was staying in like the Holiday Inn Express on the north side. It was like a 10-minute, 15-minute walk up to the train station. There's like only two metro stations on that side anyway. Like the ferry too is like a 10-15 minute walk over there. And like it
Well,
doesn't kind of take you near a lot of the main things. Like there's a couple spots, but
yeah, I mean, people talk about the engineering marvels of the dikes and everything, but a metro system in that geography had to be a
well,
engineering
it's
task.
like Rome, right? Rome, it's so hard to build there because they just run into ruins and they have to,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
get all the roads.
but in Amsterdam, you're running it, the groundwater's so high,
Yeah.
everything's got to be completely sealed, I assume. I don't know. I'm just saying it.
Yeah, yeah, but that's the one point. I mean, the trams in the city were fine. I did find them kind of weird because they have like entry points and exit points on the tram. Can't just like get on and off on the same door. Like you get in one
There's an
one
entrance
of
and
two
an
doors.
exit. That is
Yeah, and
kind of
there's like
weird.
a person manning the entrance too. Like there's a desk in the back of the train.
Do they check the
Yeah, yeah,
tickets? Is it,
yeah. To
well,
make sure you scan your ticket in, or you can buy a ticket on the train from the
well,
person.
they're a little more cautious about
Yeah.
making sure you pay, huh? Than
Well, yeah,
other.
Austria is a little different too, because Austria
Well,
is like on
Austria,
the
England wasn't very.
yeah, but in like England and France, like you go through the gates and you
Yeah,
tap to pay. In it's tap to pay in Amsterdam as well. But like in Austria, you buy your ticket and there's no one checking. It's just
yeah,
a trust system, right? Which is very unique. Austria is unique in that respect. But like, there's just a person on the tram, like not on the metros, but on the tram. The metros have the gates, but on the tram, there's a person that watches you
checking.
tap in and then tells you go backwards or forward, get away from my desk because this is
Yeah.
the entrance. Those are the exits, kind of thing. It's kind of funny. Never seen that before.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, overall, I mean, if I could tell people, like, this is if you want to go to Amsterdam, do it in 5 years, sail 2030. If you can wait that long, it's a worthwhile event to go to. It's very cool, and even if you're not into ships, I think most everyone can appreciate a beautiful sailing vessel. And there's not
Yeah,
only the
no.
tall ones.
I think anybody that loves, if you're into architecture, history, I mean, it's a sailboat's a beautiful vessel kind of thing.
I didn't mention there was two other like cool types of ships. There was in the Aspen, there's like a club of classic Dutch fishing vessels, like kind of personal fishing vessels, and they're like kind of single mast, all wooden, built in the like style of like 1800s, 1900s Dutch like early 90s Dutch fishing vessels. And on this one side of the canal, there was like 30 of them docked together. It's like this club, and they all kind of join up at these different events. Super cool.
Yeah,
The
that'd be
boats are
kind of cool.
beautiful. And then the other one of the some of the coolest boats. I love a good like a good steamer.
Yeah,
And there was a bunch of steamers, and I'd never heard this before, but they have these like they can whistle like crazy, like not like your normal whistle, but
yeah.
like different types of whistles
Tones
and
and stuff.
like the tones, and they were doing it back and forth with each other like
Well, that
multiple
would be
times a
cool.
day. They'd like go back and forth and like whistle at each other and have a little play
A
some
little
games with
concert
each
on the
other.
water.
Yeah, it's so cool. And then some of the steamboats, had little miniature steamers, like little 2-person
Yeah.
steamers that they take around and like go tour around and check out the other boats. They didn't want to take their bigger steamer. But the steamboats are beautiful. There's some absolutely gorgeous ones. And like seeing the wood paneling on them, stunning boats, really stunning. And those are some of my favorites. A good steamboat with the steam coming out and the whistling, so cool.
Where do they dock in the evenings? I mean, they
All
just like
around, anywhere they
drop
could.
an anchor or tie up together.
No, they tie up together. Yeah, they'll go like 3 abreast or so,
Huh.
like right along the canal line. And there's like
Yeah.
inlets, and then all the small boats go into the like city or so, or
Must
tie
be
up
packed.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was completely jam packed. Like the main port area, there was like a area for the smaller ships. They were like 5 across between like 2 of the docks. Like there's just jam packed with boats. Crazy. It's like LA traffic, but on water. It's so
Wow.
cool. Yeah, 100% worth it. Super cool event.
Okay. Well, good, man. Glad you had fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
We'll have to call it. Enjoyed it. Keep
Any other
posting. And
questions?
not really. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. We didn't talk a lot about Amsterdam, but that's I didn't do a ton of Amsterdam, and everyone knows about that. I will say I did my dining choices were made by TikTok, so a lot of TikTok favorites out
And
there.
I will say I mean, you didn't mention it. You did use the hotel laundry service that came down to the wire. You almost didn't have any clothes
Fortunate.
left.
Yeah, because I extended my stay because it was so fun. But yeah, with that, I think we'll end episode 67 here. Make sure to keep in touch. Follow us
Subscribe.
on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok. I got some cool videos on TikTok of Sailfest, so check that out. Our Instagram page as well has some cool posts on that. And then if you have questions about Sail and my time there, you can always send us a message. But for
Yeah.
now, sign off here from at Wits End.
Juice.
Ciao.
Till next time. Don't forget to subscribe.